Welcome again to another Weatherford speaker series on organizational leadership. We are very excited to have Dr. Rachel Capua, better known as Dr. Cap, from Tarleton State University. She's the Vice President of External Operations and Dean of the Tarleton State Fort Worth campus. And so we are just excited that she made time to spend with us today. And like the other speakers, we will ask the same questions and we will look for her sage advice on how to approach and various things that have happened in her career that should be helpful to us in learning organizational leadership and preparing for our future. So, welcome again. And we want to start by just kind of framing your background. How did you get started in your career? What were the key turning points that led you into leadership? I saw that you started your academic career at Collin County or Collin College, and you made the transition. You made the transition to TCU for your bachelor degree, and then to University of Oklahoma for your master's degree, and then earning your doctorate degree at Southern Methodist University. So very illustrious qualifications. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of frame to our students where you come from and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, sure. No, so honored to be with you. And Dr. Pullam, thank you for having me. I love things like this because it's a reflective process, but also it's a good reminder that when I too was at and in my community college journey, I had no clue where it would lead me and what this would look like. And so I often say that higher education found me versus me finding higher education. And it made absolute sense to pursue a 2-year associate degree first. Thank you for doing your research. That was impressive. That was very impressive. But yes, I started at Collin College and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do quite yet. I had interests that were varied and I just wasn't confident that I knew exactly the path that I wanted to take. And so, for a few reasons, I chose Collin College, and it ended up being one of the best decisions because fast forward to even now, or my own educational journey, transfer student persistence and retention has been my focus. And so, that's been a gift to see full circle. But I transferred to TCU and did 2 years there and finished my bachelor's degree. And then, again, higher ed, I had not known that you could do this for a living. You could actually have this higher ed thing be a career. So I actually I had a mentor at the time tell me, they were like, Rachel, if you want to get experience and insights across many different institutions or perspectives, try something different. Try something different and stretch yourself to new levels. And so they suggested I go to out of state, and they suggested I try a public institution because, of course, TCU is a private. And so that's how I ended up at the University of Oklahoma. And I worked on campus. I was the graduate assistant for student life and transfer programs, and just genuinely fell in love with the world of higher ed and serving students. And so I did something actually a little non-traditional. I graduated and actually went to corporate before going into higher ed as a full-time professional. And I ended up doing that for 4 years. I thought I'd stay for a year and stayed for four. And it was pivotal in understanding the business organizational leadership world in which even now, I mean, serving in this capacity at an institution, it's a business at the end of the day, right? We have employees, we have budgets, we're serving in leadership capacities. And so I felt like that 4 years post master's degree at graduate school just allowed me to see perspectives I just might not have otherwise. And so my heartstrings are pulling back to education, and an opportunity came up to join TCU full time in the same office that I had worked in as a student, actually.
Mhm.
And it just was the best of all worlds. And so I've been in really higher education full time since. And so it's been neat to see that every step has prepared for the next step, and it might not have made sense in the moment. Like, gosh, I don't know if I should be doing this, or gosh, I'm not sure this is the right path. But it really has become a marriage of all these skill sets and a compilation of all these perspectives in really a short amount of time that's equipped and prepared me for this role. So that's a overview, if you will,
Yes.
of how and when. But I've been serving in this position for about 2.5 years, and it's been a wonderful opportunity.
Great. And I live right there next to the Tarleton campus, and to see the growth um, and all of the great things that are happening there, it just shows that leadership is pivotal in how things grow and how they're sustained over time. What does organizational leadership mean to you, and how do you apply it in your daily role?
Sure. Organizational leadership, I think, shows up in different ways, right? I genuinely believe that every single individual within an organization or a team or a division, uh, has the ability to lead from where they are. And I think that one thing that has been insightful, to say the least, in this position has been that you have to lead from within the role that you're serving.
Mhm.
I from a perspective of structure, our institution is a member of a university system. So Tarleton State is a founding member of the A&M system. And so our president, whom I report to, he reports to our chancellor of the A&M system, right? So leadership and how we're structured is
Mhm.
has been insightful. And so within the system, within the institution, university itself, within divisions, you're given perhaps a vantage point that's quite unique. And leadership shows up in small ways and it shows up in big ways every single day. Sometimes you have to make significant decisions that impact, lives, sincerely,
Mhm.
and leading with empathy and having organizational understanding that at the end of the day, they're all still people, and we're all
Right.
still serving individuals with their stories and their lives and their backgrounds. I try to lead with empathy and sincerity and really from a servant leadership mindset more than anything else, and just hope that you learn from every experience. And so it is pivotal. It's instrumental to the work that we're doing within higher education. And I'm grateful to have really strong leaders. And our president, Dr. Hurley, and our counterparts, there's 12 vice presidents, and all of us have to work together.
Right.
And so we're in it on a day-to-day basis, and it's really been a gift to be part of.
Wow. Wow. That's a large system, and just to hear you say 12 vice presidents is enormous. Um, One of the courses, especially in this semester, is ethics and
Sure.
leadership. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it means to you in a professional setting, um, ethics and/or integrity? We've talked a little bit about
Mhm.
some of our classes, and just to kind of expand and expound on ethics and integrity in the professional workplace.
Sure. Gosh, it's a good question. It's a great topic. You know, I in thinking about this and this role, especially, but even earlier in my career, I really saw I'm going to speak to personal connection, and
Mhm.
then I'll come back to professional. My mother has been an entrepreneur and a business owner for 30, almost 35 years. And
Mhm.
I grew up watching her lead and 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 really with ethics and work ethic at
Mhm.
its core. And I think seeing that at such a young age and watching that over time, I have had the opportunity to see that sometimes in the hardest of moments or in the most challenging of times, if you stay true to who you are and what you think is best from an integrity standpoint, although it may not be the easiest thing, it
Hmm.
always is the best thing. And
Right.
and so watching it and seeing it and observing it, and now, although our worlds and industries are very different, it has equipped me, I feel, to try to do the same and everything on this side of my own, my own journey. And I think that's what it is. I mean, I think ethics, you in leadership, and I think in the executive leadership capacities, you are given every day is a new day filled with um, sometimes the unexpected,
Right.
sometimes a call you have to take, information you receive, something you're briefed on, uh, students, and their journeys. I mean, life is tough. Or maybe from a professional lens, you're having to make hard decisions about personnel, or you're
Hmm.
having to navigate something that you least expected. I think if you can always stay true to who you are and what you know is best, that compass, that North Star, that
Hmm.
source of truth, you have to follow your heart and your head. And I
Right.
think that that's probably been one of the best pieces of advice. My heart might be saying something, but my head's really telling me something else. I have to put the heart to the side sometimes and try to lead with both, but know that I have to make the most well-rounded, informed decision. And maybe I learned from it and it wasn't the right thing or best thing, but it's
Right.
what I needed to experience or what I needed to problem solve through with our team or colleagues, that will only help prepare me for the next big thing, right? And I
Absolutely.
think ethics and integrity have to be. I do wear that and try to wear that in every way, and I think it's imperative to serving in a leadership capacity as well. Most certainly.
Absolutely. Another course that we offer is conflict and negotiation. So,
Sure.
describe a challenging conflict or negotiation that you faced, and what are some strategies that help you resolve it effectively?
Oh, so let me say this. I internally within teams, because there's conflict, right? I have found that setting very clear and descriptive norms at the
Hmm.
outset is critical. And so the Center for Creative Leadership has a really excellent exercise where you can take a team through establishing norms. And we did that as a division, and we've done it two times now, since I've been here, because colleagues come in and out, and you need and want to ensure that those that are serving on the team at that time feel part of just authoring those. And
Hmm.
so we have norms, and when there's times of conflict or we're stepping into what I know, Brene Brown, if anyone's a fan out there and knows Brene, I mean, it's like this sense of like you're going into a rumble, like you're rumbling, you're meeting conflict head on, you're being vulnerable in those places. Those courageous conversations can only be successful when you're meeting the other person or the individual or group at the table with respect and understanding and a commitment to communication. And and so and then that goes with internal partners that are even not on your team, that you work closely with. And so I think strategies are norming for those that you work with
Hmm.
on a day-to-day basis, right? I think strategies are I'd much rather talk about something sooner than before it becomes maybe a larger area of concern than later. Um, you can troubleshoot and problem solve, on in a more proactive way than a reactive way.
Hmm.
I think a strategy too is just understanding that again, everybody is bringing their own, happenings to the place of work, and again, I think serving with empathy and understanding while also holding expectations and accountability is a hard dance. It's hard. It's just it's not easy. I think though that if it's done well, and you have the right people at the right time in the right positions and the right places, it's
Mm,
possible. And so I too believe in this relentless pursuit of making sure that the team dynamics or the organizational dynamics, or in this case, the division that I steward and serve, that takes tremendous thoughtfulness and team, team support. And with that, I mean, really anything is possible. You just got to work together to get to the end goal, and talk, talk about it, talk
yes,
about it, and have dialogue. I think is so important.
absolutely. So
Mhm.
as we wrap up, one last question.
Sure.
And of course, I know this is something that is definitely top of mind for all of us as educators and working in higher education and preparing our students and our graduates for um, preparing for the workforce.
Mhm.
But how do you see leadership changing in education or just broadly? And initially, I was going to ask in the next 5 to 10 years, but because of technology and how things move at such a rapid pace now, probably the next 2 to 4 years, how do you see leadership changing to where these new graduates and students are going to have to prepare themselves to enter the workforce?
Sure. I mean, it's ever evolving, right? I mean, it's interesting and fascinating to watch. And I think things as it relates to how we equip students for the workforce and how our workforce and our industries are changing. I think that it's critical to remain as relevant as we can and
Mhm.
ensuring that we're moving with the change and adapting to the change as best we can. And I think for us, anyways, and I see this even with students and who we serve, even down to work environments, hybrid, in person, virtual, the modality in which individuals, and in this case, students or workplaces for our colleagues, right? Providing flexibility. I mean, things are just changing and have changed over the last 5 years,
Mhm.
especially. And so I think it's remaining relevant. I think that it's equipping students to have skill sets that are perhaps non-traditional in the sense of what we thought when we were in college, right? Or we were preparing for whatever aspirational, credential or or job opportunity. And you're right, technology, AI, it's changing how we work. And so I was just thinking about this yesterday. I think that I was working on a job description, for instance, and I had a job description and literally had not used AI chat GPT to write it. However, I wanted it to be very clear, very concise, and very, yes, I mean, relevant, do you know,
Right.
to what it is we needed. So I put that document in Chat GPT, and it came out with a much better version that I certainly put together. And I think you can use technology, and that's for human resources, that's for preparing for a job opportunity, maybe. I think we can use it to our benefit. I think that there are advantages, right, of equipping ourselves and students and those that we serve for the changing workforce. And we're in a talent acquisition, our president says all the time, a talent requisition era where we're competing for the same people, and we're
Mhm.
competing for those that can be innovative and creative. And so I think there's potential. I really do. And I think it can not be a setback, but an opportunity to to be better and do better and to lead well. And so I just stay relevant, stay connected, ask questions, meet as many people as you can, have informational interviews with those that you might, just like this in a way, right? That you can learn different perspectives and how people got there. And maybe the last thing I'll say is there's no right way to do something, or things are going to find you versus you finding it. And I think the workforce changing as rapidly as it is, I think it's being open to things that you never thought you would do or never imagined that you'd be ready for, and just jumping in with a full heart and in commitment, and then the rest will take care of itself. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see. It is.
Yes, yes, indeed. Well, we'd like to thank you so very much for taking the time to join us and giving us the advice and the feedback and just the thoughts on how our students can approach these next decades and years of entering into the professional world. Um, we always like to look back and say, what didn't I know when I came into my professional experiences, and what would have been helpful. And I think you certainly nailed many of those today. And so we are extremely grateful and thankful, and know that you have friends just out west at Weatherford College.
I'm coming to visit soon, actually. I'm excited. I'm touring campus and look forward to being there. But thank you for having me and for the opportunity to share, and look forward to connecting again real soon.
All right.